I joined a cult. I know it's not something most people say, but I did join a cult. I saw this on the Facebook. So I joined a bunch of guys. Hi, my name's Eric. Hi. I have a problem with cars. Anyway, welcome back. Okay, lots happened since the last time I filmed a video. Let's get my shirt straightened out because it apparently is all kinds of ruffled up and my hair's messy. So I slept a lot today. All right, so what's happened? Okay, so if you're following along, I injured myself at some point in September. I think it was, and after many doctor visits and CAT scans and ultrasounds and medicine and a ton of blood tests, we've eliminated all of the scary stuff. So I didn't have pancreatic cancer, I don't have liver cancer, my pancreas isn't failing or pancreatitis. All my numbers came back great. And in the end, we think I pulled an abdomen muscle. If not pulled, I tore it.
Ooh, don't know my own strength.
I don't know my own strength, I guess. I don't know how I did it. It was during the install of the radio on the pickup truck, which I don't think I did anything extraordinary during that. But anyway, it resulted in a bulge on my side that had my wife very concerned. You know, she's a nurse. She thought, oh my gosh, something bad's happened. We thought we had a hernia, which is kind of odd for that spot, but it's not impossible. But ruled everything out and lots of rest, and the pain was bearable. By the end of the day, it was just brutal. But anyway, got past that. As soon as got past that, immediately, hello, Mr. Wren. Okay, the birds are visiting me again. Bird flew past my ear. Anyway, then we had, see, squirrel, but it was a bird. It just distracted me completely. In that other length of time, I recovered. We had holiday, Thanksgiving came, and then I started feeling better, so I went over and helped my wife's cousin. We had to cut down a tree that was about to fall on their house, on his rent house over in Norman. So that re-aggravated my belly stuff, and that was not, I got over that eventually. And then during Thanksgiving, my grandson came and gave me bronchitis. So now, first week, I don't have any family in town. I'm moderately healthy, still dealing with this a little bit, and my stomach is okay for today. So let's do something in the shop. So, sweet. All right, what are we gonna do in the shop today? So I've ordered a whole bunch of stuff in the plan that I would go ahead and start on the lights. I need to start framing up the back of the truck and start getting it ready for having the bed piece put in and have the lights and the console and all that stuff. So I bought some electrical stuff. I bought some bus bars. Got some bus bars, of course made in effing China, because you can't buy any of this stuff in America apparently. I got some fancy, what are they calling them, clips and fastener stuff. I got stuff to make cables with. I got some fat wire. This is 4 gauge. This is going to go from the front of the truck to the middle, and then we'll be able to charge our batteries there. Our battery, singular. We'll be able to charge our battery there. And let's see, another unboxing over here. I think this is my light wire. I believe it is. It is my 14 gauge light wire. All right, and then it's a lot of 14 gauge light wire, 14 gauge. Oh, it's double 14. Sorry, I couldn't remember what I ordered. But yeah, so it's got two 14 gauges in it, so pause and egg. And then we're all set there. So I've got a lot of wiring. I got wiring to do. And then we can start on that. And then I've chosen the lights. I'll put the clip up while I show you this graphic. Ooh, fancy. They're not that fancy. They're good though. So we'll have those, and we'll get those lights on there. That'll be great. So let's, first thing we gotta do is get the truck down off of the jack stands, because it's on jack stands right now. Ramps, whatever you wanna call them. And so we'll get those done, and then we'll get it down where I can touch it and work on it. I also have to work on my Ford today. Something's going on in the brake pad area. So I got some mud underneath the truck somehow, and then ever since then I've got a weird braking noise. So I need to check that out, and we'll do that today too. So all right, on to shuffling stuff around. Yeah, it's been a hot minute since I ran the truck. So she needed to charge the battery a little bit too, because it's just a little bit down, 6 weeks or so, I guess. So we need her to run a little bit. Also, you know our problems with the gas, so, and gumming up the back of the fuel pump and all that. So we don't want any of that anymore. So I've had my fill of replacing fuel pumps. So we'll do that. So we're gonna let her run for a little bit. Running like a top though. I've got an antifreeze leak right here somewhere. You can see it. It's burning off right now. I don't know. That's disappointing. Running pretty good. That part I'm happy about. All right, so next, after this, we're gonna start on some, excuse me, I'm gonna start on some wiring, but I really want to get the front input back together. So we need a windshield, and that's gonna be around 500 bucks. Yeah. So I need the windshield so I can put the cowl on. I want to replace that seal all the way around and just freshen up that whole thing. As you can see, it's dusty, but that's 280,000 miles of little rocks and sand and crap hitting that window. And if you have rain on it and you're facing into the sun, or a car light is shining on it, it's smoked glass. So that's no fun to drive. As you can imagine. So that's got to go. So we're going to get that replaced, and then we can button up the front. So we'll get a new seal, get the cowl back on, and then we can get the bonnet put back on, and then the front end is done-ish. So yeah, that's what we'll do. I'm trying to decide if I'm going to keep those lights there. They're kind of cheapy lights. They're cheap. They might not work for what they're doing there. I've not actually used them in the dark yet. But once I do, I think I'm gonna wind up making those into lights that go up here off the cowl. That everybody likes those ditch lights or whatever. I think those might go there. If not there, they'll maybe go on the back or something. I don't know yet. But we'll use them. They just might not be where they are right now. So, all right, that's that. I'm gonna let that run for a little bit just to get her all warmed up, get all the gas from the front to the back, back to the front, excuse me, and we'll get that done. So while we're doing that, we'll get some other things lined up. Oh, I forgot to tell you, I joined a cult. I know it's not something most people say, but I did join a cult. I saw this on the Facebook. So I joined a bunch of guys. Hi, my name's Eric. Hi. I have a problem with cars. Anyway, I thought this is funny. It's really cool. I got a sticker for the truck, and then they had a couple other stickers, and then one with a squirrel on it. So if you know anything about me portraying Red Squirrel in the Cherokee fur trade period, yeah, so I thought that was cool. Anyway, all right, cult. I joined a cult. Okay, here's the plan. All right, so we're gonna have the lights on the roof rack located basically there. And then we'll have the third one in the back. It'll be located roughly there. And then the port side will be there. Okay, so we have this lovely channel we can drill into and run wires down. I'm pretty confident we can do that all the way across. And then we'll have the wires come in. Probably have to run it along here, then up somehow tied to this, into there, over to there, and then two going that way. So we'll come in underneath our D-pillar here. So first move is I need to move the D-pillar off. And I guess I need to mark that and paint it again because I've already scratched it. So D-pillar needs to come off so we can get to the flappy bit on the inside where the gap is, and then we'll run it down. And then the wires need to come into my console right here. So this is a mocked up console. I am not sponsored by Prime. And so the light switches will be on that piece right over there. So I'll put the electronics underneath it. So they'll come in the D-pillar over here. Oops, okay, so the wires will come in the D-pillar here. You can see the flappy bit is where the doors, where it breathes and has the flapper where, so the air pressure doesn't pop the windows out. But it'll come in here and I'll run it down to here. And then they'll come out and go into the box. And we'll come over there, and then the wiring up will be on the, I'm doing this and you're not even seeing it. The wiring up will be on that panel there when I build that box. So today I want to get the wires all run in and just stubbed out, and then we'll get that done. We'll drill some holes in our roof racky thing, and then get some wires run into the lights. So let's get started. It's fun doing stuff. It's scary to cut into the truck again though. I forgot how this comes off already. Oh! Voila. Voila. All right, we gotta recover our washers because they fell behind the thing. Oops. Okay, got it. Got it, coach. All right, let's move this. I have more than one, and it's gone. Okay, so we need to come in. So good news, we have a hole right there. We can use that so we can run our wires in underneath, come out, come across here, and go there. This is just for the bolt on the back side. So it's got one of the rubber bits like this. And so we can slice it and then run our wires through it. So that will work just fine. no need to mess with our burpee paddle, our burpee flappy paddle. There was a post on one of the Range Rover restoration Facebook posts about how to fix this or how to replace it. So it's in this video. So, but this is just a piece of that rubber decking stuff I bought. And then I just screwed it into the top. And so it's flappy enough to burp when the doors close, but strong enough not to rot. And if any rain material, mud stuff gets in there, it's not going to pour straight into the truck. It will be redirected. That's what I keep telling myself. All right, there we go. That's going to be super cool. All right, let's get some wire and get it started out. All right. Okay, I went a little crazy because the size of this is silly. So it's only got 14 gauge wire inside, but I did get the kind with a very sturdy piece. So you can see it's quite heavy across. So I'm going to cut a couple of corners off. The question is whether I can get 3 of these fat ones in that little hole. So I'm going to cut 3 off just to experiment here. Because I bought 100 foot of this, so 6 inches isn't going to make that much difference, I don't think. All right, let's see if we can get 3 of these to fit in there. I think we're going to be right at the ultra limit of that. Okay, 3 wires, or three sets of wires will fit. Yes, they will fit. But it's not going to leave much room for grommeting and keeping water out, because the grommet is only certain size. So I wonder if I should strip these back. I wonder if I should strip these back and just run the wire inside and let this be the protective stuff on the outside. That is also going to change the size of the hole I drill in my it's going to change the size of the hole I drill in my roof rack too, because that's a 1/4 inch hole, if not bigger. I'll need 3 of those. So I went kind of cuckoo on this one. Dang it. I wanted protected wire, so I bought protected wire, but didn't think through my... Dang it, stop. I bought protected wire, but didn't think through my solution. Purses. Traps and rats. I've got to think through this a bit more, Brian. Maybe we can't run it inside and we just run it on the outside. Yeah, maybe we just run it on the outside and use, and that way the 3 wires can come up through here. Oops, sorry. And then 2 can go that way, and then 1 can go that way, outside of the tube. Man, that's not what I wanted. That's not what I wanted, David. All right, crap, a brick. All right, we got to think through this a little bit more. Thinking through it a little bit more. More thinking. We're gonna do some thought processes.
20 minutes later.
All right, lots of thinking later. All right, this is where we're at. Okay, so I kind of mocked this back up and I put it in. So you can see that the wires, I can make this happen. This is in its proper spot, okay? This is kind of where it's supposed to be. But this gap right here, which you can't see because of the sun and the shadow, is quite heavy, I think, is quite wide. It's much wider than the actual one on this side, which doesn't have any wires in it, which is all the way to the top, except for this back piece right here. So it's all the way up, except for this back piece. So, I hate this camera. Okay, So it's got 49% battery and it says, oh, I shut off because I've run out of battery. No, it didn't. All right, so this seam is quite tight. And if I hate this camera. All right, we talked about the seam. All right, let's get over to the other side. So this side, we've got a significant gap, which is about the width of this wire. So that's where we're at. I think I'm gonna go ahead and install. I'll run 3 wires up through here. We'll bundle them together. What are we doing, Eric? I'll run 3 wires up through here. I'll bundle them together. I'll bring them out on top like this. We'll bundle them to the roof rack. Bang, 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 bang. With some zipper ties. We'll run the wires underneath the roof rack part like this, and we'll run them all the way around. It's going to take 3,262 zip ties, but we'll get it done. All right, that's really what we're doing. Okay, so we'll do that, and then we'll test. If rain comes in here and it starts getting in here and then getting in here, then we'll come back and we'll cut this beauty panel and we'll subset those into the beauty panel and slide the panel up so that it is tighter to the top. But we'll check it out first. We've done a decent job getting the water where it won't come into the truck down here. So we've done a decent job on that side. I'm not worried about that too much, but that's what we're gonna do. So let's get started. I'll start measuring out some wires. Okay, all right, didn't have any black zip ties. Nice. So we're going to have to source some. So that means this is a semi-permanent install. All right, and so I've got the wires well wrapped, well routed. Let's call it routed. Got it all routed. Everything goes to where it needs to go. Got it all the way around to here. We've got this mess right here. More and more I look at it, the more I'm thinking I'm cutting that D-pillar beauty panel because that is tight. But if I cut it, I got that little round right there. Those would fit much nicer, I think. And then I could seat that panel up farther and do that. Now, the thing is that we also are going to need to put at least one antenna up there. We have the cell phone booster antenna that we can install that my cousin gave me. And it has wires too. And it'll have to have the dongle, one of those big dongle antennas on it. And then the other antenna wire is pretty thin. You've seen it when I installed it on the pickup truck last time. So it's pretty thin. But it has to go up there too, because this whole mount has to be up on that truck, up on the top. So that's our antenna mount. So that has to be up there too, somehow. So it's gonna come in. Now, I could run it to the other side. And since it's a thinner wire, it might not cause so much trouble. But it's kind of based on where, so we could run it on this side for the antenna, and then the antenna could be up here. I'm thinking the cell phone dongle antenna would be up here on this back side. And then I can flip it down. I'm gonna get the collapsible kind. I'm gonna flip it down this way or that way. And then when I need it, I can come out and just stand it up when we get out into the wilderness. and then at least we can get text messages back and forth. But the radio antenna, a lot of people like to mount those up front. And I've seen some pretty cool ways to mount it. So thinking a mount somewhere here by the cowl could go up, and then the antenna would be up here. So I wouldn't run it back there. I just have to go through the firewall and put the radio inside. I do hope the head unit will be up high. I mean, I have a dream that the head unit would be up here. Oh, can you see that? Yes, you can now. That my head unit would be up here somehow. But I haven't sorted that installation issue out. I mean, because the radio has several features to it, one of which is a remote panel. So it doesn't take a lot to get the panel up there, okay? So the base unit just stays where it is, and then, you know, you can mount it just about anywhere, and then run your head unit to any other place. It's got screws for the back and all that, yeah. So, and then the antenna, which we've tested and it works great. The antenna would be something like this. And so if you look at it like this, hold on, I'm trying to get it to stand up on its own. All right, so you can see that it doesn't go very far above the rack of the truck. So it's very level with the truck. Can you see it this way? So here it is. So it stays under that. So if we were going to put limb risers on, so we put a limb riser here and into some stable point up here, this would barely flex. If a branch was here, it would barely flex down to, you know, get out of the way. So that might be an option, putting it up front here. So we've got lots of things to think through. So that's where we're at. All right, we still need to run some more wires. We need to run this heavy gauge 4 gauge from roughly somewhere up here to the middle of the truck, which would be right behind the passenger seat probably. That's where I think the battery will go, because that'll be the bed. The bed piece will be across here on this side. The bed piece will go across that way. So there's a dead spot right behind the passenger seat. And so that's probably where that battery piece needs to go. I can run it under the truck and up through, because my shore power, that blue wire in the back there, that's my shore power. It goes to the plug on the front. And so I can wire up. So shore power goes in here. And so I can wire up a charger for that too. So if I ever did camp in a camping area and wanted AC, I can do that. It would also charge all my pieces when I plug it into that unit. So I think that's a start of where this needs to go. But okay, so I've got plenty of 14 gauge wire. So we'll be running some lights and stuff in here for the back, and then more power for all of our charging devices need to go somewhere. Probably, I imagine they'll probably have to come over here with the rest of this. So there'll be some charging station or a way to charge all of those batteries, drones if we have them. I've made a big giant list. It's a huge list. It's gigantic. Anyway, I've made a list, and it's more items than you really could imagine. And so that needs to be here as well. So we'll do that, and then run wires, and those will come from the shore the onboard battery, the back battery, the auxiliary battery. So those would come from here. So charge off that battery, not off the alternator. So those could charge overnight or whatever. And then back here, I need wiring for small pumps, and I think this is where the water is going to go. And if I was going to, in a future iteration of this, I'm going to put a water bottle here and possibly even a heater. And then I could have hot water coming out on this side. And then I have an idea that this panel might come out and that there be a lift gull wing here with water inside of it and maybe other stuff. I know it's a great collection of stickers that would have to go away, but it's something to think about, and it's a future iteration. So I haven't got that sorted out. I want to get the back in it, start using it, make sure it's still worth putting more time into, and then once we get to that place, we'll know better. So, all right, that's all I got. Thank you so much for all the emails and the people checking on me. That was really appreciated. I'm doing better. I'm not hurting right now, but you know, a little bit too much. If I drive too much, it's weird. If I spend like more than an hour and a half in the car, it starts to ache a little bit. So that muscle's not really that healed. So we'll see. The doctor did say, you're not 30 anymore. She also said, you're not 40 anymore. So apparently I'm old.
What an ugly thing to say.
And I'm prone to being injured. I bought one of these really cool crimping tools too. See? Ooh, making fancy cables. Yes, I know. That's all I got. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'll get this up. You'll see it when you see it. Tune in and I'll see you next week. Go Navy, beat Army. That's today. All right, let's get that done. I guess we lost a light. One of my light bars is busted.